Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Help Is Here podcast, brought to you by the Beyond Compulsion Academy. Today we're going to be talking about keeping it simple when it comes to pornography, addiction recovery. Back in the past, I used to go round and round in circles, trying everything I could online. Read a ton of books, all these different methods, NoFap, YouTube videos, different podcasts, you name it, I've probably tried it. Now, what we do is very, very different to anyone else out there. And what I want to do today is just share like one of the posts. Well, this is actually just someone who's posted directly in Beyond Compulsion Academy. So usually what we have is like 2 posts every week. So like a weekly check-in and an exposing the addict's part of the mind post. But this client's actually just posted inside of like the news feed himself, which we don't get all that often because, you know, usually people just comment on different posts that we've set. But you know what? I love it when people just post in school. And we had another one actually a few days ago. So, you know, I love it when this happens. It's a really cool post. And I asked him, you know, hey, am I all right sharing this inside of the podcast today, like on the podcast? And he was like, yeah, man, absolutely, go for it. So it will be shared anonymously. Let's get into it. He wrote the title, Keeping It Simple, ... As this will be my last few days in the program, I wanted to post something in here. However, I really want to refrain from doing a big, long post about this method and instead explaining how a simple approach has transformed my life. So I'll leave you with this, ... You have an urge, use the script, make a choice, willingly accept temporary discomfort. That's it. Do that repeatedly, and it will change your life like it did mine. If you're new here, I'd recommend just going all in on this method and completely throwing out whatever you were doing previously. This method really works. Not that any of what I'm about to say really matters because it's all about the present moment, but just to give some context. Previously, I couldn't go a month without watching porn. And since finding this method a year ago, I've engaged with pornography once. Brackets. And the only reason I did this is because I didn't use the bloody script in the moment of compulsive desire. Haha. Bracket. I feel like you'll relate with this, Mary, but you can probably imagine him saying the bloody script. Do you know what I mean? Like the way he seems is so funny, but I freaking love this guy. And then he said, some days will be tough and some will be great, but every day gets better with peace of mind. Tom and Mary, I love you. Thank you. Love heart. Such a wholesome message. We love to hear it.
Oh, I love that. Heart emojis. Yes, I love it. And when he talks about willingly accepting temporary discomfort, you know, keeping it simple, it's the script is designed to allow you to facilitate that, to be able to be with that discomfort while the changes are happening in your brain, you know? But what's so cool in keeping it simple, whatever the urge, whatever the junky thinking, or the unanswerable questions, whatever it is, anything related to this behavior in any way, shape, or form, there's one solution. You do the same thing. And by doing the same thing over and over and over and over, that's what develops those new pathways where you can feel completely free of it because it's permanent change in your brain, you know? So
Yeah.
I love that, you know?
Yeah.
Somebody called us global. No. First, someone called us national treasures. You see that?
Yeah.
And then someone said they would go so far as to call us global treasures because we are global, you know. I mean, national, I guess they meant UK or whatever, but yeah, that was pretty sweet. I love that, you know, getting those kudos because, you know, we work pretty hard, Tom, you know.
True. Yeah, it's like the other day. I remember the other day, like I was on my sofa and you were talking about, I don't know, your cats or some illness or something. And I was just like, yeah, Mary, you know, like not to talk about work again, but, and then I just like go into some more work stuff. and then again and again. And I kept doing that basically because, yeah, I mean, we do work hard here at BCA to try to help people, I guess, the best we can. But, yeah, it's just nice.
I just don't understand why you don't want to talk about cat shit and puke endlessly. It's just like, come on, man.
Yeah. No,
she's much better, by the way. Tintin is much better. She just comes and goes. So yeah, she's doing good today. I'm gonna take her out in the sun with me. So yeah,
sweet. I know. I'm glad to hear that. I know you was genuinely worried about her last week, but yeah, no, BCA excites me, and like it's nice to get the results. Like the results is the main thing I care about. Like I've got to be honest, I'm quite a competitive person overall.
Yeah.
And so when we're getting these results for the clients, like that to me is the win. Like that's honestly the best feeling in the world. Like just seeing someone share with us, like, yeah, this shit's changed my life. Like I just
Hmm.
love hearing that. And
Me too.
that's what we work for, and it's about empowerment as well. Because you can stop watching porn for a few weeks or a few months. But like this guy last night on the group call, he was literally inspiring a new client on the group call. And like he's been in the
Yeah.
program a while, so he's leaving now, which is fine as well. And it's like, yeah, crack on. Yeah, you do your thing, that's not a problem. But he's on the call talking about his experience. And you can see a new guy who's just joined a few days ago getting like excited and smiling and like, oh shit,
Yeah.
like this shit could actually work for me. And it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, man, it can. But in terms of keeping it simple, I think this is the thing is like in terms of the educational standpoint, so we're not here to just like suck our own dicks, right? But it's like also understanding that that's where the addictive part of the mind wants to go, is that the addictive part of the mind wants to make it complex. The addictive
Yeah.
part of the mind wants to make everything super, super complicated. And this is why I
100%.
was going around in circles for years and years and years. And this is where most people go wrong. And let's talk about it, because this can hopefully help some guys out. So Mary, over to you. Why does the addictive part of the mind try and complicate things? Where are people going wrong with this problem?
Well, because if it can get you into questioning, right, the unanswerable questions, it keeps you from that simple process that is going to do the rewiring in a very specific way. And the thing is, the addictive part of the mind knows, oh, I can get you over here feeling confused and questioning this and going online and looking at that. And you go online, you're going to find plenty of stuff that's contradicting, right? It's going to just create more and more questions. And all of that keeps you from, and it gets you in a state of helplessness because if you're questioning, you don't know. Rather than knowing, simplicity, I use this script, and that's going to do that very specific rewiring. So it's the addictive part of the mind is just trying to keep you from the help that it knows, if you use it, you're going to get free. And then it's going to be, snuffed out and it doesn't want that. So it wants what it wants. So
Yeah,
yeah.
you make such a good point about how the addicted part of the mind wants you to mentally adopt a position of helplessness by
Yeah.
trying to make you focus on what you don't know.
Right.
Now, I was walking over here today and I was just thinking a little bit about the quote. You've heard of it, like I'm sure everyone's heard of it, which is like the more you learn in life, the more you realize what you don't know. Like I'm
Yeah.
guessing you've heard of that before, yeah?
Yeah. I've heard that quote. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So what I was thinking about it is, okay, my revised version of it is like the more you learn in life, the more you realize what you don't need to know. Like
Yeah.
that
Right.
is being the biggest thing for me over the last
I
few
love that.
years is
Mm.
just understanding like 99.99999% of information I don't need to know to make my life better. Like it's
That's
so
right.
freeing to understand that. Like
Yeah.
you don't need to keep searching more and more and more and more information. All you need is one approach to dealing with that part of your mind. And as this client said, crucially, willingly accept temporary discomfort. Keep it simple. If you do that, you're going to be good. And then you can maybe tackle other problems in your life and solve those other problems. But nowadays, there's just so much information. And I'd also argue like the vast majority of internet information isn't actually helpful. Like it's not just like neutral or like, it's not that helpful. It's like, no, in my opinion now it's detrimental. Like
Yeah.
because there's so many wacky beliefs online and how algorithms work is you're obviously going to get the most extreme kind of beliefs and the most extreme content like hitting the top of the algorithm a lot of the time. And there's just so much nonsense out there that like if you consume and you don't think about it critically, you're going to absorb that belief system and that's going to basically mess you up because you're going to be believing in irrational stuff. And I feel like this is what happened to me and I'm becoming more and more awake to it. And I'm starting to see like, wow, like the ways I used to think was so irrational. Like I used
Mhm.
to think like you need orgasms and like you need to ejaculate X amount of times or that you need like biological releases. And like there was so many junky thoughts I had from consuming random shit from no fappers and semen retention content creators
Well,
online.
there's a contradiction right there. You need to have orgasms or something, whatever they say, But wait, you got to have semen retention. Which is it?
Yeah,
And with
yeah, yeah.
all the stuff, okay, the addictive part of the mind wants you in a state of confusion, wants you asking unanswerable questions. Go onto the internet and find so much nonsense, right? So then what's the mind want to do? Try to make sense of the nonsense. And the whole time, you're not using the simple tool that will actually change the pathways to get you free of this behavior. Like that's all gone by the wayside while you're over here trying to figure out if you're supposed to retain your semen or if you're supposed to ejaculate. What the hell are you supposed to, which one? So now we can ask 100 more experts, which one of these is true, talk about a rabbit hole. It's all, and the addictive part of the mind is going, got him over here when he could be over here, actually changing these addictive neural pathways and getting the hell out of this mess, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. And I think nowadays I actually see like all those thoughts as compulsive thinking or like
Yeah.
part of the problem, like part of being in an addiction and not really know how to deal with that part of your mind. Whereas back then I didn't see that because I wasn't aware that I wasn't aware that the addictive part of the mind will also pose as the rational part of the mind. So
Right.
a lot of like
Yes.
seemingly intelligent sort of intellectual pursuits or different rabbit holes that you can go down to try and understand more, a lot of the time that kind of thought pattern is actually just trying to lead you into more sort of helplessness and to convolute choices or make things more complicated than they need to be, when actually just comes down to, well, moment by moment, you've got choices, and it's possible to make rational ones, just in the present moment.
It's so true that the addictive part of the mind posing as the rational self comes into play so much because especially now in the online environment, it's so much about mindfulness. You want to be analyzing your thoughts, being aware of your thoughts, looking at your thoughts. Then the one thing I've seen a lot lately is look at your thoughts or desires or whatever with a curious mind. Be curious about it. And then all the what are you feeling? Where's this
Mm.
desire coming from? This desire is coming from the fact that you're looking at porn when you're 11 years old, and you get wired that way. That's where it's coming from, But what are you feeling? Now let's talk about those feelings and let's give this desire, this feeling a name and all that kind of stuff is like
Oh,
seems
100%.
productive, but it's not, you know.
100%, 100%. Like, I've had this a lot, and it's so good to go beyond this way of thinking. Like, yeah, like the thoughts I've had is like, why do I have this desire? What's led to this desire? What was I doing yesterday that could have led to it? Oh, is it because I had a bad sleep? How do I change my routine to get rid of this desire? Like all these kind of junky thoughts where it seems productive, but it doesn't actually help you make a rational decision just in the moment that you're having the compulsive desire.
It's productive for the addictive part of the mind.
True, true.
Definitely productive for that part, for
Yeah, yeah.
sure. Yeah,
Because
yeah.
then you feel helpless and you're like, I don't
Yeah,
know, like, what the hell's going on? Like, why do I feel so
yeah.
shit? And it's like, well, because you're thinking in a way that's going to create certain feelings. Like, let's talk about REBT a little bit here because,
Mhm.
rational emotive behavioral therapy, the overall concept is that your thoughts create your feelings and you act on your feelings. And it's like, it's so misunderstood that if you're thinking in these analytical, questioning ways, then you're going to feel like confused or maybe anxious or unsure of yourself.
Yeah.
But like modern therapy nowadays, like a lot of the time, it is going down that path of trying to get you to think in those ways. But then
Mhm.
that's going to create these horrible emotions and get
Right.
in an addiction. Then the addictive part of the mind steps in and it's like, all right, well, let's go watch porn to get out of all this confusion. And then
Yeah, it's
that's
backwards.
that. Yeah.
What are you feeling? You're feeling helpless. Well, guess what? That's coming from your thinking, friends.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, for sure. All right,
Yeah.
let's wrap it up here. But
Sure.
just want to say big thanks again to this guy for sharing in Beyond Compulsion Academy.
Yes.
For the other guys in the
Much love.
program,
Yes.
yeah, feel free to share stuff as well. This guy's on a lot of the recorded straight line group calls as well. So, feel free to watch those back, to the guys in the academy, because he's going to really inspire you and you'll probably know who we're talking about if you are a member. But if you're not, feel free to get involved. I'll leave a link below. Cheers for listening and we'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.